Okay, so now I know some of you are working, but you really need to pay attention because there's much more parts to this one. Okay, next thing you're gonna select, and it can be in any order you want, and I probably go with something easier now. Now we can do easier. Is the bubble. Okay, so go ahead and pull up the bubble and open that up. And we're gonna multi. Okay, who can tell me what would be the fastest, easiest way to select it? Magnetic. What about using my rectangular marquee tool? One thing with that one though, if I'm drawing it, notice how the size, and I have to like redo it. You can actually adjust the selection. So even if it's not perfect, you can draw it around it. That's the second tool. And then you can go under select, modify. Actually not modify. Go transform selection. So go select, transform selection. And now you can conform the shape to your bubble. So I just use marquee tool. Is the one that is the second. Okay. Now I just did, when you're done and you think you did a good job, apply. Isn't that quick? And now I would do refine edges, and I'm going to repeat this step without recording it. So now I'm going to go select, refine edge, smart, a little bit here, do okay, and I have my little bubble. So for the rest, I'm going to show you how I did that. I'm going to place in a new layer because I may use it a few times. So I'm going to just cut it out using the Command J, or copy it. Actually, I'm not cutting it out. Now, have that layer selected, I'm going to pull out my bubble and move it. Let's see what size it's going to be. Move it to my first image. So we have several, so we have a bubble here, okay? Now notice the size of it. The size is pretty big. So the next thing, and I usually would recommend doing it inside the first one, but because we're not going to make a change, we will change the size of this bubble. Okay, so now you would go under edit. Some of you are on different pace. I'm thinking I'm talking to myself. I'm going to, okay, then transform, and we will scale it. And hold the shift key when you scale it. Actually, hold the bottom right corner when you scale it. Okay. Now we will repeat this shape several times. The easiest thing to do it is duplicating your layers, and I will duplicate my layer several times. So duplicate layer. Okay. Now just duplicate and move it. And then duplicate. Another shortcut is Command J. Oh. So, bless you. And you can make them all different sizes, okay? So make them all, Command T is for shortcut to make them different sizes. Command T. You can move them on the side here. Just, you know, keep changing them up a little bit. Select different layer to do so. Move it. Command T will transform it for you. And I'm holding my shift key when I'm grabbing it. And don't worry, I will repeat it. You need to double click in the middle of it for the selection to take place. And I'm going to duplicate it one more time. So I made 5 duplicates of this layer. Or actually 4 duplicates and 1 original. Okay. So we didn't do much, we just duplicated it a few times. created 5 layers, and you can place them anyway. I want you to merge your bubbles layers. So I want you to select them. So you can hold your shift key to select the layers, and then click on the last bubble layer, and then go ahead and go into merge layers. So I just merged them. When you merge your layers, I want you to rename them. So we're gonna rename this one bubbles. So name it, double click in the name, rename it, and also rename your table, layer 1, into table. So that's where we are now. So now when you're done with the bubbles, the rest of the things you have to do is the beer. Only the beer itself, you need to bring that over, so select it. The cake with the plate, and only this one champagne glass that has the bubbles. Now, what I want you to think of, make sure, you know, when you bring that over nicely, don't forget to refine the edges when you do so, okay? So there are different techniques as well with the selections, and you can use them, and I will be doing it so you can actually see. For those who not see, you can watch it at home. So I'm gonna start with the beer, and all of those will be, and you also have another thing, strawberry and chocolate strawberry as well. So all of those have to be placed on the table. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to put on there, right? So I would probably go with maybe easier things, strawberry or something. And how many times am I going to double click it? I don't know. I just decided to go with the strawberries, easier. And I'm going to use the quick selection for that one. What happened?
No, I figured out a different way to like make edges a little bit smoother.
Okay, so that's...
No, select around it. Use the eraser tool and just erase all the unnecessary stuff. When you select it and you just start erasing, it only erases where the line is. So you don't even want those. Huh?
And you can probably see, you already see the refine edge on here too. Did you see that? Once you're doing the quick selection, refine edge is part of it. So I'm only selecting, for the strawberry, guess what I'm using? I'm only using the quick selection. And make sure you don't have the shadow. And then I'm going to clean up with the lasso. And when I'm done, I'm going to refine those edges on it. Okay. So anytime you want to clean up something, the lasso tool is really good for cleaning up. Okay, so I just selected, look, it took me like 30 seconds to select this one. And I'm going to refine my edges. The option is right here too. And I'm going to do one, and I'm going to see how good it looks like. Okay, and let me paste in a new layer so I can see it better. And I'm going to move it over when I'm done. Now this strawberry might be really big. Look at the size of this. We don't want it that big. So make sure you resize it, okay? Now, technically you should have resized it in a document, but at this point I can do Command T. Resize that. And that doesn't have to be very small, okay? You can make it out of sizes, but please hold the shift key so you don't squish it. You don't do this to the strawberry, okay? And then always drag the corner of it. So there's my strawberry. I don't care where you put it. And double click to apply. Rename your layers. All your layers have to be named. So this is strawberry. Now I'm gonna do a chocolate one. I'm kind of craving a chocolate strawberry somehow right now. Looking at those. Because I love chocolate. Let's take a break, a strawberry break. By the way, this strawberry is pretty big. What I'm gonna do right away, instead of selecting, I'm gonna change the size of it. Because it's too big. Now, notice what happened? Because I need to have that sampled and checked back. It's too big anyway. You still have to resize it because it's way too big. So I resized my strawberries. They're too big. I'm selecting too much. Uh-oh. No, similar. I'm doing too many.
We have 3 winners from each class, right? That we're going to submit to Student Showcase.
It's actually right now it doesn't look like the quick selection is working well, so I'm gonna use magnetic lasso and see if that's gonna help. So I'm using magnetic lasso tool for the chocolate. And I'm clicking to refine my points, otherwise it may go somewhere else. So for the chocolate strawberry, I'm using, again, the magnetic lasso tool. And we can always touch it up. Just clicking away. And I have to click, you know, even though magnetic lasso will follow your movement, you still have to click because this is so many, it may actually go the wrong way. So big part of Photoshop is selections. Obviously it's huge. And notice how not smooth my selection is. Now you can always touch it out, but that's why I like to use my refine edge. And you can see how choppy my selection is, right? It's like, what happened there? So look what I can do. It's becoming smoother now when I refine it. But the more choppy your selection is, then you have to move that refine a little bit more. Okay, so I have my smart radius. I refined it. Notice a little bit blurry. So it made it much smoother for me. I can actually now do Command J, paste that in a new layer. And I'm ready. See how smoother it is? Kind of blurry at the end. That's how you compensate for crappy selection. And then we can move it out. And it's still too big, so I need to make it smaller. Command T. Command T. Put it next to the other strawberry. And please rename your layer. So I moved it in. It's going to be chocolate strawberry. Okay, so resume, and we have few done, and I don't need to use it again. I like it. But I would say at this point, you probably want to save your document. Otherwise, something may happen and you're going to cry. So Command S will save it, and it's just make sure it says LZW compression. And just do OK, because you do have layers. So I'm closing all my other ones. I don't need that many things open. I'm gonna go with the beer first. And I didn't double click it. It just did it by itself. Okay, so let me go with the beer. For this one, I'll probably use, let me see, quick selection. I was gonna work for that. Quick selection, look at that. Almost all selected. Quick selection is the best thing here. Now here, if it does over select something, just zoom in. Now one thing I want you to be mindful what size this is. Because if that is a big document, this one is okay. You can, but if it's like the first strawberry, you probably want to resize the document before you do the selection. Okay, so quick selection here works well. There'll be some edges though you have to refine, you have to retouch, but for the most part I think it works very well, so that's what I use. And then I'm just using my lasso tool to kind of fix all the mistakes on the sides that the quick selection didn't do. And again, I mentioned already that the key here is varying the sizes of the brush. And you see that refined edges also shows up here. Look at that. The refined edges also shows up right on the menu there. So you don't have to go all the way to select. Just make sure it fits on the table. If somebody asks me what size is the strawberry. You want to make it the size, I mean, I make it a little bit bigger than normal, but you have different elements. Okay, so let me refine those edges. Now, if I mess up somewhere, one thing with refined edges, you can actually paint on it. So if I, for example, if I had more complex thing I want to show, I can do it. But just keep in mind the radius. If you do a good selection, it will be really small, between 1 to 5. 1 to 2 points. So I have that. I'm copying it over. And I usually wouldn't copy it over to a new layer. But because I know you are new, I do that. So you do it. Now look how big my beer is. I should leave it that size, huh? He doesn't like beer. Now, there is an important thing that you have to keep in mind when you bring all your elements. You don't want the beer to be on top of your strawberry. So you need to move your layers. Okay? So I'm going to move my layer down so the beer is actually behind it. Or it could be on the side. So I can be here, but I want to make sure my alcohol is on a different side. Okay, so I don't save it. Next, I'm going to bring champagne. I have to stop clicking on it because I keep doing that. And every time I say it, I keep doing it again. Okay, so which tool do you recommend? All of them? No, one tool. Yep, let's do quick selection. Always go with quick unless it's not quick anymore. Because see, now notice here in the bottom, I'm gonna zoom in and see. If you zoom in, and then quick selection might do a better job if you have it small. This is a tip. Zoom in, change the size of your selection, and look at the magic happen with the quick selection tool. And then if something is not perfect, you can always touch it up with Lasso. But look how quickly that selection happened. It took us, what, 3 seconds to select it with quick selection? But I had to zoom into it. So now I'm going to refine edge. And this is just good cleanup. So the bottom I can see, I have to clean that up too. See here? So I'm going to do my brushes selected. I can actually paint that in. Do okay? Copy. And let me bring in my glass over. And again, I'm going to do Command T. And make sure you put it behind the strawberries if you're using that. So now, even if you put it behind strawberries and you don't do such a good job on the bottom part of it, it's going to hide it. Okay? So I put it and I name it Champagne. So what else we have left? We have the cake. So now I'm going to bring out the cake. Now I really want lunch. Should bring some sweets when doing this. Okay. Again, let's try with a quick selection. Now, I'm going to double check the size of this because it might be... Where's my mouse? Okay, it might be that the size is way too big, so let me... Uh-oh, wrong key. Alright, I've already noticed that this is going to be pretty big and for the cake. So I'm going to change the size. I did 300 on this, and then I'm going to check it. And I'm going to make it by 3 inches. I mean, it doesn't need to be bigger than that. I think that's good enough. Do 4 to be safe. But I think 3 inches is good enough. And then go back with my quick selection and select it. You can also try a magic wand. Magic wand is just going to select the areas, but I found in this case the quick selection works better. So I just undid it all when I did. That is why you know why when quick selection came out, I was in heaven. I'm a dork. I like things like that. Because it made my life so much easier. Look at that. Look how quick it was. So what do you see with this quick selection tool? It works very well when your shades are not similar. Because we have a red background and the rest is not the same. It's going to select it better. Faster. And I just only have to worry about the bottom part now to select that. So just keep on clicking away. And for this one, you can even do, I mean, if you want to do magnetic side, you can, but I'm just going to use the quick selection and just click on the edges of it. Of the plate. Okay. And I think that's... Seems like it selected everything. Let me find my edge and it's gonna tell me. Oh, that's close enough. Look, it's all selected. Let me see what my layers are. Again, my layers keep disappearing on me. Paste that in. And I probably can remove it and put it on a table. There it is. That's why I made it smaller file. Because it's kind of big. So this one, I'm gonna still redo it. But you know, if you brought the cake in as it was way too big. And resizing it here is just a waste of time. So I just did it. Now, put the cake somewhere. Maybe here on the side. The strawberries. And name it cake. So this is how my layers look like. And I think that's it on here. And after you're done, save it. I mean, keep saving throughout, and you're ready to submit your file.